The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched as far as the eye could see. Its walls were made of crystal that sparkled with the light of 1,000 different worlds. 47 alien species had gathered here, on a massive space station called Nexus Prime, floating at the center of the galaxy. Ambassador Velkoth stood tall. He was made of living crystal, and his body shimmered with inner light. He raised one geometric arm to get everyone's attention. "Honored members of the Council," he said, his voice echoing through the massive chamber. "I present the petition of the humans from Planet Sol 3. They wish to join us." Whispers spread through the crowd. The humans had only been traveling in space for 200 years. That was nothing compared to most species here, some of whom had been exploring the stars for thousands of years. But these humans were different. They had made friends easily. They traded fairly. They helped others without asking for anything in return. 12 star systems already considered them allies. Archon Zephyrius floated forward. He was the Council's ancient leader, and his transparent form seemed almost like a ghost. He studied the holographic images that showed humanity's achievements. "Ambassador Lee Jaiwan of Earth," he called out. "Please step forward." A woman in a simple gray uniform walked to the center platform. Her black hair was pulled back neatly. Her eyes were calm and confident. She looked small compared to many of the massive aliens around her, but she did not seem afraid. "Ambassador Lee," Zephyrius said, his voice like wind whistling through empty spaces. "Your species has impressed us. You are fair in trade. You are good at diplomacy. You have helped many smaller species. The Council is ready to give you probationary membership." Jaiwan bowed respectfully. "We are deeply honored, Archon. Humanity only wants to learn from those who came before us. We want to help build galactic peace." A reptilian delegate from the Keldari Empire hissed softly. They seemed different from most newcomers. Less aggressive. Less territorial. Almost gentle. "Perhaps their world teaches cooperation," suggested a floating orb that represented the Luminary Collective. The ceremony continued smoothly. Documents were signed with special quantum-encrypted seals that could never be forged. Humanity would have limited access to Council resources, trade rights, and protection under galactic law. It was a historic moment. Another peaceful species was joining the great civilization that had maintained peace for 10,000 years. Music played. Delegates congratulated the humans. Everyone seemed happy. As the celebration began, a small insect-like alien named Tikrix approached Ambassador Lee. He worked as a junior clerk in the Council's archives. He carried a data tablet and looked apologetic. "Ambassador, I am very sorry to interrupt," Tikrix said, his antennae twitching nervously. "But I need some information for the official registry. We need your planet's astronomical designation. You see, the ancient charts use a different naming system than modern records." Jaiwan smiled warmly. "Of course. No problem at all. The coordinates are Sector 777, Subsector 421 and what we call the Orion Arm. Our planet is the third one from our star, which we call Sol. We named our planet Earth, but I believe the old galactic surveys probably gave it a different name." She recited the exact coordinates from memory. Tikrix entered the data into his tablet. His screen flashed once. Then twice. Then it began pulsing with a red warning symbol he had never seen before in his entire career. "That is interesting," he chittered nervously. His compound eyes showed his confusion and growing worry. "The system is flagging something. I should verify this with the Forbidden Archives." "Forbidden Archives?" Jaiwan asked with curiosity. "That sounds mysterious." "Oh, it is just old records," Tikrix assured her quickly, though his voice trembled slightly. "Probably just a cataloging error from thousands of years ago. Please, Ambassador, enjoy the celebration. I will handle this minor issue." As the human delegation mingled with Council members, sharing stories of Earth and accepting congratulations from dozens of alien species, Tikrix hurried away. He moved quickly through the corridors, heading toward the deepest levels of Nexus Prime. The red warning on his tablet continued to pulse like a heartbeat. The coordinates matched something in the sealed files. Something that had not been accessed in thousands of years. Something that was locked away for a reason. In the Forbidden Archives, deep below the celebration, ancient security systems that had been dormant for millennia began to wake up. Warning lights flickered on in the darkness. Alarms that had not sounded in 10,000 years started to chime softly. The humans were here. The humans had arrived. And somewhere in those ancient files, a name waited to be discovered. A name that would change everything. A name that would make the galaxy tremble. Tikrix did not know it yet, but he was about to uncover a secret that had been buried since before the modern council existed. A secret about a planet so dangerous that the ancient civilizations had marked it with warnings in 50 dead languages. A secret about Earth. The forbidden archives existed in a part of Nexus Prime that most people had forgotten about. The corridors leading there were dark and cold. Only old automated systems kept them running. The doors were sealed with locks that required special authorization that even most council members did not have. Tikrix's security clearance should not have been enough to open those doors. But the red warning triggered by Earth's coordinates had automatically given him higher access. The massive doors, covered with warnings written in 200 dead languages, slid open slowly before him. Archives, he called into the darkness ahead. I need verification on coordinates Sector 777, Subsector 421 Orion Arm, Third Planetary Body. Lights began to flicker on one by one. They revealed endless rows of data crystals stretching into the distance as far as he could see. At the far end of the chamber, something moved in the shadows. Keeper Mortax emerged like a ghost from ancient times. He looked like a withered tree. His bark-like skin was covered with glowing symbols. He had hundreds of eyes dotting his entire body, and all of them suddenly focused on the young clerk. Those coordinates, Mortax said, his voice creaking like old wood bending in wind, should not exist in any modern database. How did you obtain them? The humans, Tikrix stammered, his antennae shaking with fear. The new species that just joined the council. Those coordinates are their homeworld. I was just filing their official paperwork when... Show me immediately, Mortax commanded. Tikrix projected the holographic file into the air between them. Mortax's hundreds of eyes widened in what could only be pure horror. Seal this chamber now, the keeper ordered. Instantly, heavy blast doors slammed shut around them with a thunderous boom. What I am about to show you is classified at the highest possible level. Do you understand the seriousness of this? Tikrix nodded quickly, too scared to speak. Mortax moved to a central pedestal and placed one gnarled branch-like hand upon it. The entire archive came alive with projections from ages past. Images filled the air around them. 10,000 years ago, Mortax began slowly, the Galactic Council was not the peaceful assembly you know today. We were at war. The precursor war consumed half the galaxy. It was a terrible conflict between the ancient civilizations and something else. Something darker. The hologram showed star systems burning. Fleets of warships beyond counting filled the space. Weapons that could tear apart reality itself were being fired. The precursors were the first species to travel between stars. They ruled the galaxy for 1,000,000 years before younger races like us rose to challenge them. They were not evil, but they were not kind either. They were practical, efficient, and they were the greatest builders the galaxy has ever known. Images appeared showing massive ring worlds that circled entire suns. Giant spheres that captured all the energy from stars. Structures the size of planets. But the precursors had one secret project. They discovered a world far out in the outer rim of the galaxy. A planet so hostile and so deadly that they saw it as the perfect testing ground. The perfect forge to create something new. The hologram focused on a single planet. It was blue and green, orbiting a yellow star. It looked beautiful from space. They called it HFY Prime. The Crucible of Nightmares. It was classified as a Class XII death world. That is the highest danger classification that exists. The gravity was 40% stronger than standard. The oxygen levels were toxic to most life. The predators on this world were so fierce that they competed with each other in endless cycles of violence. The weather systems could destroy cities. The ground itself would shake and split open. Diseases evolved faster than anyone could track. Tikrix stared at the planet rotating slowly in the hologram. It looked peaceful and beautiful. How could something so lovely be so dangerous? The precursors brought proto-sentient species to this world. They engineered them for one single purpose, to survive. If a species could survive HFY Prime, they could survive anywhere in the galaxy. These survivors would become the precursors' warrior caste. Unmatched soldiers to protect their empire from any threat. What happened to them? Tikrix whispered. The experiment succeeded beyond all projections and expectations. The species adapted faster than predicted. They thrived in that nightmare world. They developed intelligence and tool use. They learned social cooperation to survive together. But before the precursors could harvest their warriors, the Great War came. The precursor civilization fell. Their empire collapsed into dust. Their stations were destroyed. Their records were sealed away or lost forever. Mortax manipulated the holographic display with his branch-like fingers. HFY Prime was marked with warning beacons in 50 different languages, all of them now dead and forgotten. The warnings all said the same thing: do not approach. Death World. Indigenous species dangerous beyond all measure. The coordinates were sealed here in the Forbidden Archives. For 10,000 years, no one has gone near that system. No one has even spoken its name. He overlaid the ancient star charts with modern ones. The coordinates matched perfectly. Earth and HFY Prime were the same planet. Keeper, Ticrix could barely force the words out. The humans gave us these coordinates freely. Without any hesitation. This is their homeworld. They evolved there naturally. They survived without any help from the precursors. Mortax's hundreds of eyes all turned to look at the small clerk. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he spoke very quietly. Then they are not an abandoned experiment. They are not a failed project. They are the successful result. And they do not even know what they are. They do not know what their world made them. The ancient keeper moved slowly to a communication terminal. His movements were stiff, as if he had not moved in centuries. I must inform Archon Zephyrius immediately. This changes everything we thought we knew. But Keeper, Ticrix protested weakly, they seemed so peaceful. So kind. They helped everyone they met. Mortax turned back to look at him. Young one, remember this lesson. A predator is most dangerous when it has learned patience. When it has learned to control its strength. When it chooses not to kill. Within 1 hour, Archon Zephyrius received the classified report. Within 2 hours, an emergency council session was called in secret. Within 3 hours, the word had spread through diplomatic channels and frightened whispers. Humanity came from HFY Prime. The Deathworlders had survived their nightmare planet. They had reached the stars. And the galaxy had just welcomed them with open arms, never knowing the truth. The emergency tribunal met in a sealed chamber deep within Nexus Prime. No recordings were allowed. No observers could enter. Only the inner council sat in judgment. These were 17 species who held the highest security clearances in the entire galaxy. Ambassador Li Jiwen and her delegation were escorted into the chamber by armed guards. The change was shocking. Just hours ago, they had been guests of honor at a celebration. Now they were being treated like dangerous criminals. Jiwen walked beside Major Park Dane, their military liaison, and Dr. Kong Mincio, their chief scientist. All three looked confused and worried. Ambassador Li, Archon Zephyrius said coldly. His voice carried none of its earlier warmth. Please sit down. Jiwen sat carefully. Archon, has something happened? If we have broken some protocol or offended anyone, we sincerely apologize. Tell me about Earth, Zephyrius interrupted sharply. I'm not sure what you mean. What would you like to know? Keeper Mortax stepped forward from the shadows. He projected an ancient hologram of a blue and green planet. Is this your world? Jiwen studied the rotating image carefully. Yes, that is Earth. The continents have shifted a little since that scan was made. Looks like it is at least 10,000 years old. But yes, that is home. The council members exchanged worried glances. Several shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Ambassador, Zephyrius continued slowly, carefully choosing his words. Are you aware of how your world is classified in our ancient archives? I did not know we were in any archives at all, Jiwen replied honestly. Humanity only achieved spaceflight 200 years ago. We assumed we were completely new to you. Mortax changed the display to show danger classifications in bright red text. Class XII Death World. The highest possible designation that exists. Ambassador, let me be very direct with you. Your planet is considered the most dangerous inhabited world ever recorded in galactic history. Complete silence fell over the chamber. Then Major Park laughed out loud. Every eye in the room turned to stare at him. His laughter died quickly when he realized no one else found anything funny. I apologize, Park said, his smile fading fast. I thought you were joking with us. Dangerous? Have you seen the garden worlds we have visited? Valoris, 3 is like paradise. Perfect weather every day. Gentle animals. Food growing everywhere freely. Thalassia is a peaceful ocean where intelligent species float with no predators at all. Compared to those beautiful worlds, Earth is just normal. Hell, Velkoth whispered from across the chamber. Compared to our worlds, yours is hell itself. Dr. Kong leaned forward, trying to understand. Archon, perhaps if you explain specifically what concerns you, we could clear up this misunderstanding. Zephyrius gestured and the display changed to show detailed data. Your planet's gravity is 43% above galactic standard. The weight you carry on your body every single day would crush most species here within hours. Their bones would break. Their organs would fail. Jaiwan blinked in surprise. Oh, we did not realize that. We thought we were adapted to normal standard gravity. So you all feel lighter on your own worlds. Your atmospheric oxygen content, Mortax continued relentlessly, is 21%. That is toxic. It would cause severe cellular damage to 80% of all known species. It is essentially a slow poison to most of us. But you are all breathing fine here on the station, Park noted, confused. Because we reduced the oxygen content to safe levels for this station, Velkoth explained. You humans are carrying supplemental oxygen in nanoform in your bloodstream. It is being released through your medical implants. You have not even noticed you are breathing a thinner atmosphere than your home planet. The three humans looked at each other with growing shock and realization. Zephyrius continued without mercy. Your planet experiences what you call weather. Hurricanes with winds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes that tear through entire cities. Lightning storms that carry enough power to run our starships. Tsunamis that are larger than our biggest vessels. Your ground moves, another council member added, his voice shaking. Tectonic activity. It creates mountains. It opens massive chasms. It spews molten rock that burns everything. Your temperature ranges, a third delegate spoke up, swing from extremes that would instantly freeze most species solid to heat that would literally cook us alive. Yet you live comfortably in both regions. Dr. Kong was beginning to look pale. Her hands gripped the armrests of her chair. You are saying that Earth is unusual in all these aspects? Unusual? Mortax's bark-like skin rippled with emotion. Doctor, your planet is a horror show. A nightmare. But that is not even the worst part. New images appeared in the hologram. Earth's ecosystems in all their savage, brutal glory. Lions hunting. Sharks circling. Bears attacking. Spiders waiting. Snakes striking. Crocodiles lurking. Your predator-to-prey ratios are completely inverted, Mortax explained. On normal, healthy worlds, prey species vastly outnumber predators by huge margins. On Earth, predation is so intense, so constant, that prey species had to evolve extreme defensive measures just to survive. Your entire planet is locked in a constant evolutionary arms race. Images cycled rapidly through Earth's deadliest creatures. Your bacteria and viruses, a council member said with visible disgust and fear, evolve faster than we can develop new technology. Your immune systems wage constant warfare every single day against microscopic invaders that mutate at impossible rates. Even your plants, another added with disbelief, many of them produce deadly toxic compounds. They defend themselves aggressively. What kind of planet has plants that fight back? Ambassador Lee's hands gripped her chair tightly. You are telling us that everything we consider completely normal is actually extraordinary? Extraordinary? Zephyrius leaned forward intensely. Ambassador, you come from a planet where simply existing requires a constant trial of survival. Where every single day your body must actively fight just to stay alive. Where your environment is constantly, actively trying to kill you in 1,000 different ways. That explains so much about your species, Velkoth added quietly. Your redundant organ systems. Your ability to heal from wounds that would be instantly fatal to any of us. Your resistance to diseases. Your incredible reflexes. Your endurance that seems impossible. Your psychological resilience to trauma. Major Park found his voice. We are tougher than you expected. Tougher. Mortax made a sound like grinding, splintering wood. Major, you are not just tougher. You are terrifying. You come from a world that should have killed your species 1,000 times over during your evolution. Instead, you thrived. You became the apex predator of the most hostile planet in all of known space. But we are not aggressive, Jaiwan protested strongly. We have been peaceful in every single interaction. Yes, Zephyrius said very softly. And that is perhaps the most terrifying thing of all. The UESC Indomitable dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kareth system exactly 5 days after receiving authorization. She was not impressive by galactic standards. Just a small frigate barely 200 meters long with basic weapons and simple shields. But she was Earth-built and human-crewed, and she carried something no council ship possessed anymore. Experience with real warfare. Captain Nam Ki-hyun stood on the bridge studying the tactical display. His crew worked with quiet efficiency around him. 50 years the council had tried to solve the Kareth crisis peacefully. They had failed every time. Now humanity had 50 days to prove themselves. Status report, he ordered calmly. Lieutenant Commander Han Yuna checked her console. Sensors show 7 Skrull hive ships in orbit around Kareth 3. The planet's colonies are under siege on the surface. The Skrull have adapted to the environment. The heat and toxic atmosphere do not slow them down at all. What about the colonists? Approximately 3,000 mixed-species civilians trapped in sealed habitats. The Skrull have not breached the settlements yet, but they have cut off all supply lines completely. The Council has been sending relief ships, but the Skrull destroy anything that tries to land. Captain Nam zoomed in on the planet. Kareth 3 was hellish by galactic standards. A volcanic world with surface temperatures reaching 120 degrees Celsius. An atmosphere thick with sulfur compounds. Near constant earthquakes and eruptions. The Council called it barely habitable. The human crew called it Tuesday. Communications, open a channel to the Skrull command vessel. All frequencies. All translation matrices. Sir, the Council has tried that hundreds of times. They never respond to. I know. Do it anyway. The channel opened with static and harsh clicking sounds. Skrull vessels, this is Captain Nam Ki-hyun of the United Earth Space Command ship Indomitable. We are requesting immediate negotiations for peaceful resolution of the Kareth situation. We are prepared to mediate between your species and the Galactic Council. The response came in harsh, chittering tones that the translator struggled to process. Weak Flesh Council sends new weak flesh. We do not negotiate. We take what we want. Kareth 3 is Skrull territory now. Leave or be consumed. Copy that, Nam replied calmly as if discussing the weather. I appreciate your position. However, I should inform you that we are not like the other Council species. We are humans from Earth. You may not have encountered us before. One weak flesh species is like another. You will burn and break like all the rest. Noted. This is your final chance for peaceful resolution. We do not fear you, human. Captain Nam's expression did not change at all. You should. Indomitable out. He closed the channel and turned to his tactical officer. Lieutenant Park J, what is our weapon status? Railguns charged and ready. Missile tubes loaded. Point defense systems online. But sir, we are not going to match 7 hive ships in direct firepower. We do not need to match them. We just need to frighten them. He activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. Deployment in 20 minutes. Marines, prepare for hot drop. Engineering, give me everything you have. Intelligence, I want to know where every Skrull on that planet is sleeping tonight. 30 minutes later, the Indomitable burned into Kareth 3's atmosphere at an angle that made the Skrull ships hesitate in confusion. The human frigate was too small, moving too fast, and heading directly into the worst volcanic zone on the entire planet. Skrull vessels are moving to intercept us, Tactical reported. Let them try, Nam replied. Launch decoy drones. Make them think we are going for the main colony. 6 drone signals scattered across the planet's surface. The Skrull ships divided their attention, trying to cover multiple landing zones at once. Meanwhile, the Indomitable dove into a volcanic canyon that should have torn any ship apart. The hull temperature spiked dangerously into the red zone. The crew did not even flinch. Drop zone in 30 seconds. Marines, you are clear to deploy. In the drop bay, Major Park Dane and her team of 40 Marines sealed their combat armor. The suits were heavy-duty by Earth standards, designed for the hottest and most hostile environments humanity had ever encountered. By galactic standards, they were primitive and obsolete technology. But they worked perfectly. Listen up, Major Park's voice crackled through the team channel. The Skrull think they own this planet because they adapted to the heat and toxins. They think they are the toughest things here. Time to show them what evolution on a real death world actually means. The drop bay doors opened. 40 Marines fell into hell itself. They hit the ground hard in the middle of a Skrull forward operating base. The insectoid aliens were caught completely off guard. Nothing should have been able to survive that drop. The heat alone. The toxic air. The volcanic terrain. The impact force. But humans were not nothing. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. The Skrull were incredibly formidable. 3 meters tall with natural armor plating. Powerful razor-sharp mandibles. Acid-spitting attacks that could melt through steel. They had evolved specifically for aggression and were perfectly adapted to Kareth 3's nightmare environment. They had never fought Deathworlders before. Major Park moved through the chaos with practiced, cold efficiency. Her team used tactics the Council had never seen before. Close quarters combat. Coordinated fire patterns. Aggressive flanking maneuvers. And something that absolutely shocked the Skrull to their core. Humans deliberately engaged in hand-to-hand melee combat with creatures that outweighed them 2-1. And the humans won. Contact left. Sergeant Kim Hanul called out sharply. She dropped the Skrull warrior with precise railgun fire, then smoothly transitioned to her combat blade to engage another charging enemy. The Skrull's acid spray sizzled and smoked against her armor, but the human metallurgy held strong. Forged in Earth's corrosive oceans and tested in volcanic vents, it did not fail. Advancing on the nest structure, Corporal Lee Miho reported. He kicked through a reinforced barrier that should have required explosive charges. His powered armor augmented strength that was already formidable by any galactic standard. The Skrull warriors began to retreat. Retreat was not something the Skrull were known for. Ever. Sir, we have secured the forward base, Major Park reported back to the Indomitable. Skrull are falling back to secondary defensive positions. 0 casualties on our side. Requesting extraction and immediate redeployment to next target. Captain Nam watched from orbit as Council surveillance drones relayed everything back to Nexus Prime in real time. He could easily imagine the shock and horror spreading through the Council chambers right now. Negative on extraction, Major. Hold that position firmly. We are bringing the colonists directly to you for evacuation. On the 42nd day of their 50-day test period, the Skrull withdrew completely from Kareth 3. They did not surrender. The concept was alien to their entire culture and psychology. But they left. The crisis that had lasted 50 years was over in 6 weeks. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was the largest gathering in recorded history. All 47 member species sent their highest representatives. The chamber on Nexus Prime was filled to absolute capacity, and millions more watched through quantum link broadcasts across the entire galaxy. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Lee Jaiwan and her delegation, waiting for judgment. Archon Zephyrius called the session to order. We are here to determine humanity's place in our civilization. The Kareth situation has been resolved, but serious questions remain about the methods used and what they mean for galactic security. Velkoth rose first, his crystalline form reflecting harsh light in all directions. I propose immediate military containment of the human species. They have proven they are even more dangerous than we feared. They fought the Skrull and won decisively. A species that has terrorized our rim territories for 50 years. What happens when humans decide to turn that terrible strength against us? Murmurs of fearful agreement rippled through the chamber like a wave. But they solved a crisis we could not solve, another delegate countered loudly. Perhaps danger is exactly what we need right now. Need danger? Velkotha's voice rose sharply. Are you insane? We built this council on peace, not violence. Before the argument could escalate further, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights began flashing. Every delegate received the same urgent message on their personal devices simultaneously. Archon Zephyrius's form flickered with visible distress. We have received a priority distress signal from the Galactic Rim. Multiple systems. The transmission is, it cannot be real. What is it? Someone called out. The Devourers, Zephyrius said, his voice barely a whisper. They have returned. Absolute silence gripped the chamber. Every species in the council had ancient stories of the Devourers. Nightmares passed down through countless generations. Ancient ravenous entities that emerged from the dark spaces between galaxies every 50,000 years to consume entire civilizations. They ate planets. They absorbed technology. They left nothing behind but empty void. That is impossible, Keeper Mortax said, his hundreds of eyes wide with terror. They are not due to return for another 1,000 years. The calculations were precise. The calculations were wrong, Zephyrius replied grimly. Or something has changed. They have already consumed 3 systems completely. Our peacekeeping fleets are moving to intercept, but... He trailed off, unable to finish. Ambassador Lee stepped forward without being called. But what, Archon? Zephyrius looked at her with something like despair in his ancient eyes. But we have not fought a real war in 10,000 years, Ambassador. Our tactics are outdated. Our training is theoretical. Our weapons are designed for defense only. Our very psychology as a civilization is built on peace and cooperation. We have forgotten how to fight for survival. And you are afraid, Major Park said quietly from beside Jaiwan. Was not a question. Yes, Velkoth admitted, his crystal form dimming. We are terrified. We do not know if we can stop them. We do not even know if we can slow them down. The chamber filled with frightened whispers. Some delegates were already talking about evacuation. About abandoning entire sectors. About running away to the far edges of the galaxy. How long do we have? Dr. Kong asked. At their current speed, Zephyrius calculated, they will reach the Council's core worlds in 90 days. Perhaps less. Jaiwan looked at her fellow humans. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Then she turned back to face the Council. Archon Zephyrius, members of the Council, she said clearly, her voice carrying to every corner of the massive chamber. We understand your fear. We truly do. But we also understand something else. Something our world taught us. And what is that? Velkoth asked bitterly. What wisdom does your death world offer us now? That survival is not about being the strongest, Jaiwan replied. It is about refusing to give up. It is about standing together when everything looks hopeless. It is about protecting what matters no matter the cost. Major Park stepped forward. You are afraid because you have lived in peace for so long. But we remember what it means to fight. Not because we want to. Not because we enjoy it. But because sometimes fighting is the only way to protect those who cannot protect themselves. You are asking us to become like you? A delegate said with disgust. To become violent. To become killers. No, Dr. Kong said firmly. We are offering to stand between you and the darkness. We are offering to be the shield that protects your peace. That is what Deathworlders do. We survive so others do not have to. Archon Zephyrius floated closer. You would fight for us? For species you barely know? For worlds that are not your own? Yes, Jaiwan said simply. Because that is what humanity does. Earth taught us that we are stronger together. That protecting the innocent is not weakness. That compassion does not mean being harmless. It means choosing when to use your strength and when to show mercy. And if you fail? Velkoth asked. If the Devourers destroy you? Major Park smiled grimly. Then we fail fighting for something that matters. That is a good death. But Archon, we do not plan to fail. We plan to win. And we could use your help. Our help. Mortak sounded surprised. What could we possibly offer you? Everything, Jaiwan said. Your technology is more advanced than ours. Your knowledge of the galaxy is deeper. Your resources are greater. We have strength and experience with warfare. You have science and unity. Together we might actually have a chance. Zephyrius was quiet for a long moment. The entire council waited. The council will vote, he finally announced. All in favor of accepting humanity as full members and requesting their assistance in defending the galaxy against the Devourers. Hands, appendages, tendrils and crystalline structures rose throughout the chamber. Not everyone voted yes. Fear and distrust still lingered. But the majority was clear. It is decided, Zephyrius said. Humanity is granted full council membership. And we formally request your aid. You have it, Jaiwan replied immediately. Send us the coordinates. Earth will answer the call. As the council scrambled to prepare for war, Velkoth approached Ambassador Lee privately. I still fear what your species might become, he admitted quietly. What you might do with all this power. Jaiwan met his crystalline gaze steadily. Then watch us carefully. Hold us accountable. That is what friends do. They keep each other honest. Friends? Velkoth seemed surprised by the word. Yes, Jaiwan smiled. We came to the stars looking for friends, not subjects. Earth taught us many things, but the most important was this. Survival means nothing if you survive alone. 3 months later, the combined fleet of the Galactic Council and Earth's defense forces met the Devourers at the edge of known space. The battle was fierce and costly. Many ships were lost. Many lives ended. But the galaxy held. Humanity's tactics, combined with Council technology and the newfound courage of species who remembered how to fight for something greater than themselves, proved enough. The Devourers were pushed back into the dark spaces between galaxies. And the galaxy learned that the most dangerous species was not humanity. It was fear itself. When the Council reconvened after the victory, humanity was given a new title, Protector Species. Not conquerors. Not overlords. Protectors. Ambassador Lee stood before the council one final time. We came from a death world, she said. But we learned something there that paradise worlds cannot teach. We learned that life is precious because it is fragile. We learned to protect it fiercely. We learned that strength without compassion is tyranny, but compassion without strength is merely good intentions. She paused, looking at the faces of 47 species who had become allies. Earth's real name was Hadia Prime. The Crucible of Nightmares. But we prefer our name. Home. Because that is what we want to help you protect. Not just our home but everyone's home. Together. The galaxy had learned Earth's real name and had been terrified. But they had also learned something more important. They had learned what Earth created. Not monsters. Heroes.